Welcome back to Life in the New Normal. Happy New Year, Dena.
Happy New Year, Ashley.
Yeah, it's so
New
good
year,
to
new
see you.
you.
I know, right? Well, hopefully people like the old me too. I don't know.
Well, you never know. I mean,
That's
some
rude.
people would. What?
Bitch.
Excuse me. Sometimes you gotta hear the truth, girl.
Here we go. Here we go. This is how we starting. This is how we start in Life in the New Normal.
I'm
So,
just telling you, lots of not voices,
oh,
lots of things are
oh,
coming in, and I'm going to give lots of intuition during this session as well.
I love that. Thank you.
Okay, good. You're
Well, that's
welcome.
why we're here.
I know,
Well,
and
partly.
I've literally now been feeling more comfortable and at ease, and so there we go.
Good. I love that because I think
Thank
that's
you.
really special. And thank you for the reading you did last week for the world. That was pretty, wow. I wasn't expecting you to go that far, that deep with it. I thought it was going to be a quick little thing, and it was,
Oh,
that was really
well,
cool. Thank you.
well, thank you for asking. And girl, I've never read The World before, but let me tell you, you can't just knock that down into 45 minutes. But what I will say is I was exhausted after. So one can only imagine if they're picking up on energy that in their surroundings, and they're not very familiar on how energy works, and they don't know why they're exhausted all the time.
Uh-huh.
These are ways to learn that energy, your energy and someone else's energy, really does matter.
That's true. Yeah, because when I reached out to you after to talk to you about something with the podcast, the edit, you were
Mm-hmm.
like, I can't, I'm laying down. And just so y'all know, yeah, this takes a lot out of Dena to do this type of thing. And you have chronic back pain that I feel like you take
Mm-hmm.
on from carrying some of this weight around and stuff too. So I know it's a big ask to do something
Yeah.
like that.
So
So thank you,
yeah,
really. I know that's
you're welcome.
challenging.
So
Yeah.
what we talking about today?
So today, girl, well, this is you brought this topic up, and I just thought it was whoo! Don't let anyone take you out of your character.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's easier said than done, right? It's like
Uh-huh.
we all hold this opinion of ourselves and we do our meditation in the morning and we try to be grounded and then we go out into the world and it always comes from somebody that just freaking broadsides you. Like you walk into the UPS store and somebody steps in front of you and or does something stupid or you walk in, I mean, or it's traffic or it's
Yes. No, I
whatever. It's
get it.
always the
Uh-huh.
little things that you just freaking don't see coming. It's never like the things you prepare for. You're thinking like, "Ooh, I'm going to see my family
Totally.
today. I'm going to be ready for this. I'm going
Uh-huh.
to keep my mouth shut." That's not how it
No,
works.
it
Shit
totally
comes,
it happened to me
knocks you
a couple of weeks
sideways.
ago from an elderly couple that was
Uh-huh.
like 80, and I was in the store with my friend and her child, and the child was having a few meltdowns, and I didn't realize I was as agitated as I was because I was keeping calm. But
Right.
I thought that they tried to go in front of me in line because sometimes in Italy, older people, they assume because they're older they can go in front of you,
They
and
just get right
so
in front of you?
it's they just get right in front, or they'll go, I'm late to the pharmacy so I have to go, and you're like, well then you should have came to the market earlier, right?
Right. But
So
they're old, so what do
literally,
you do?
okay, fine. So all I did was ask, and I was saying basically, wasn't I next?
Uh-huh.
And you would have thought that I accused them of like robbing a house. Like, no, no, no. And then asked this one. I said, okay, like, va bene. They kept it up for like 3, 4 minutes. They kept, and I said, va bene, like, basta.
Uh-huh.
And then they wouldn't stop. And I said, are you kidding me? And I said it out loud. Thank God they couldn't understand. But I was so frustrated because of the ego involved and needing to prove their point to me that they didn't go in front of me in line. And
Right.
granted, I allowed them to take me out of my character in that moment, just like you said, because I
Yep.
got blindsided.
It's exactly. It's always those
I
stupid little
literally
moments.
didn't see it coming. And so
Right.
that is so important to talk to people about, because we don't we could all prepare for most moments, and then most of us wouldn't be taken out of our character.
Right. So what do we do,
Preparing
Dena?
for those, well, what you do is you have to shift. Really, it's not change who you are as a person, but things that used to make us frustrated or angry before, we've learned as an adult to navigate through stress, right? Or to handle stress in a better manner, or whatever it is. So the same goes for not allowing someone to take you out of your character. Because in moments like that, where I was in the store, I didn't have time to think. And
Well,
then
exactly. That's the
only,
point. It's
yes. And then,
reactionary. It's just a reaction.
yes. And then only when I was halfway through it, I go, what are you doing? Like in my head, I was
Right.
like, what are you doing? Like, this is ridiculous. And your friend and her kid are watching, and you're an example. And then I sort of slowed down and I sort of, it doesn't mean you're going to be perfect all the time, but what does being taken out of your character mean to you, to me, to everybody else? It's going to be different. And
Sure.
so for you, you have to say, is it when you're with family and you may, get frustrated with someone, or is it when you're at work and you don't have patience for people who work for you? Or so it's like, I say, start one thing at a time, not the whole life. I say, start, if you want to get better at work with your coworkers, start there first. And you start just practicing
As in
subtle changes
focusing and
and profound.
preparing.
Yes, profound impacts, and knowing how you want to talk to somebody better, how you want to show up better, because really the change is going to start with you or me, and I'm going to bring whatever changes to the table, and most likely may not be on the first time, but people will respond to the new me.
Mm-hmm.
And so remember, people, they may be coming at you aggressively because they're expecting a fight from the old you.
Right.
And so you can't expect people to just respond and get it right away, right? So it may take 1, 2, 3, 4 times of them going, oh, wait, she's shifted or something's changed, or you know what I mean? And because I find it's very important to not tell people, I've changed, I'm different. No, no, no.
No.
Actions speak louder than words. Well,
Absolutely.
lots of people like to say that. I don't do
Mm-hmm.
this anymore. I've been on
Mm-hmm.
a healing journey. Listen, all of that's very lovely, but show me, don't tell me, in the sense of do the work.
Right.
And the work is reading, practicing, meditating. If you don't like to meditate, have a workout, have something that is helping regulate all of your emotions, your frustrations, everything that's going through you. But where you do start is, you have to say, and just start it with one. Where is it that first that bothers you most or frustrates you most, that so quickly you can be taken out of your character? In which scenario? So we'll just say for you, frying pan time. We'll just say for you, when do you when do you find that you're so easily taken out of your character?
Oh, it always is something I'm completely not expecting. It's something I get frustrated easily. It's usually just like a frustration of
Is
something.
it that you're frustrated with the other person and you don't know what to say, or is okay? So
Yeah.
maybe you could say, "Hey, can I have a moment, or can we take a beat, or maybe can you repeat because I'm not hearing it?" Is there something that you would be comfortable, that would be your go-to, that you could say or you could do, and nothing passive aggressive, and nothing what is
Well, it's not
that
it's
word?
not necessarily with people that are adults that I'm close to. Sometimes it's with kids and just like the frustration I feel and I'll react. Sometimes it's like I said, out in public with somebody I don't know, and it's not going to be like, "Hey man, can we take a moment?"
Okay,
It's more
that
of
okay, I
just,
get
do you
that
see what
part.
I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. Okay, so on that part, there have been times where I have been known to turn around and apologize and say, you know what, I'm
Yes.
really sorry. I don't know where that came
Right.
from.
Right. Right.
And that takes someone who's a little bit more advanced
Right.
to put your ego at the door,
Yep.
right?
For
But if
sure.
people aren't there yet, if you catch yourself and then be like, whoa, 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 get yourself stopped. I've stopped myself mid sentence and people go, can you repeat that? I couldn't hear you. Go, oh no, I'm sorry. I was just thinking out loud.
Right.
You know what I
Thinking you were a
mean?
bitch. No.
Totally. And
No.
so
Sorry.
I feel like, no, I think it's really important, especially when you know these things. Think of it like this. Do you want those people to walk away, even whether you know them or not, with that kind of memory or image of you? Because
Exactly.
see, then they're going to go home. Think about this. They're going to go home and be like, I met this fucking bitch in the store and she was
Right.
so fucking rude. And
Right.
that vibration is attached to you, my friend.
Yep.
So
Yep.
then you're therefore getting that extra vibration coming in, and you don't know
No, thank you.
where it's coming from.
Right. Well,
So
can I
see
say
how
two things
important?
really quickly about that before
Yeah.
you go to the next? Um, isn't that the point too of this exercise of don't let anybody take you out of your character? Because when you react and it is something so quickly, isn't the point when you're starting this work to recognize it and to catch yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Because in that you'll remember the next time and the next time and the next time, and it's sort
Mm-hmm.
of a process, right?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And the most important thing with catching yourself is try to ask yourself how you feel in that moment. Like, where
Right.
is this coming from? Because it's either a learned behavior, something you picked up on, somebody you saw, whether or not when you were a child, or people in work. Like, I've noticed in Italy, a lot of friends that I have, or my ex, a lot of stuff he was saying back to me. And then I was like, how the fuck did he know that? Like, wait,
Mm-hmm.
oh, he's talking to me how I talk to him.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And then there were things that he wasn't saying. And I was like, he wouldn't know that English if it hadn't come from me, because,
Mm-hmm.
that was slang and certain things. So that didn't make me feel very good,
Of course. And
And so,
the
sorry.
other thing I was going to say too is that what I've been trying to practice, thank you, Abraham Hicks, is to focus on the way you want conversations to go with those more difficult people. Like rather than replaying all the horrible
Mm-hmm.
scenarios and all the things you think could happen, which is hard to do when you know you're walking
Mm-hmm.
into a room where it's somebody that's always difficult with you. Trying to just go, this is how I want this conversation to go. This is how I see it going really well. This is how I see it being great for both of us and for a calm, peaceful outcome. I mean,
Yes,
easier
and the
said than
very
done, but
important
I'm,
part
I'm
of that,
practicing that too.
yeah, and the very important part of that too, this is really important. It's also to feel the energy
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
you would like let's say after you went to a job interview and you're in the parking lot, you're like, yes. It's so important to feel that as well,
Mm-hmm.
because your body will get used to that energy and attract more of that energy. See what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's
Yeah.
also, so like when you're sitting there going, oh, the conversation's so good. Oh, and they accepted my offer. And yes, that's amazing. And then your
Mm-hmm.
body's like, oh, yes, let's do it. Right. And it's also important to, instead of saying what's wrong with things, I start saying what's right with things. It could shift you so quickly.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
when I'm in a conversation in a session online and people are like, and my partner does this and my partner, and I will interrupt slowly, because before a session, I don't want to get everything negative and wrong about your partner, because I'm sure they're not all wrong. So I will just gently say, could you just tell me a few good things about your partner, like what's right with your partner? And they will, and look at even the smile on your face. It
Yeah.
changes so quick. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're like, oh, wait, and then
Mm-hmm.
then it's so interesting to watch them go like this. So then as they go further in the conversation, well, I mean, I didn't mean to say that they were bad before. I'm just saying, and then they'll justify it. So you see, there's
Backtracking.
stages going through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because then we
Mm-hmm.
feel guilty, then we
Sure.
feel bad. So really, it's becoming aware, right? Because when you become
Exactly.
aware, you become responsible. You
Yep.
call unring that bell. So
And when
now
you
you
know better,
become
you do better.
aware. Exactly. Well, hopefully, because
Hopefully.
some people think ignorance is bliss, and they will just put
True.
that knowing better aside and being like, oh, I forgot.
Right.
No, you didn't forget. You just didn't want to do the work, or you weren't emotionally
Right.
ready to do the work.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And that's scary, doing the work and starting. Like, imagine if you're 53 like me and you have not been introduced to spirituality, and all you've ever believed in is the God and the religion that you believe in.
Yeah.
And you are now noticing that everything you are is everything somebody else has told you that you have to do, or that you should be, and now you're learning to think for yourself. Where do you start?
Right.
Awareness,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
you have to
It's a
go, what do
tricky
I
one.
want? Well, what do I want? Where do I want to go? Who
Mm-hmm.
do I want to be? And if
Mm-hmm.
you don't know that yet, because it's so tainted by all of the other stuff, look at people in books or figures or public, speakers, or whoever it is that you look and you think you like their energy, and you may, because you've got to find something to help keep you motivated.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so
Yes.
that's so important too, because I don't want people to feel alone. And I think that the social media and having strangers being able to understand you more than the people you're around, it's basically because the people around you, some of them are still sitting in their own shit, and they are uncomfortable with your progress, or they are maybe envious, or so they can't join you where you think they should join you when you think they should join you.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's disappointing for us, because we're like, I want you to be happy for me. I want you to be excited for me. You're not supporting me on my new journey. Well, girl, I'm just barely keeping my head above water. And the last thing I'm thinking about is becoming a new person. I have to pay rent and I have to pay bills. So then it doesn't mean that your partner isn't into it. It just means, again, we are always looking for someone to do it with us, and we're always afraid to do it ourselves.
Right.
And I'm here to tell you, it all starts with you. No one can
Yep.
do the work for you.
Right.
So
And then there are those of us who are
eventually,
single who have no choice but to do the work ourselves.
true that, but
Right?
then you have friends and you go to your friends, and then we
Exactly.
support each other.
That's
Some
right.
people will go, I have no one to do it with, so I can't start right now. I don't know what to do next, so I can't start right now. I'm
No,
like,
I'm saying
there's this,
sometimes it's easier because you don't have the contrast as much coming at you all the time. It's like you have
true.
more time to really focus on what you want to do, and then when you go out into the world, you get dinged. You know what
Yes,
I
you
mean?
do get dinged. That's a good
Yes.
one. I'm
Yeah.
gonna, so you know what? Let's from now on, instead of saying harsh, like, how's your day? I got a little ding today. Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because the ding is, you can get over a ding very quickly. I think
Yeah.
also what people fail to realize is nothing is forever. So whatever phase you are in, doing the work doesn't have to last forever, but postponing it
Right.
makes it last forever.
Right. And once you start getting used to it, like we said, it's a process. Like recognizing it in the moment is half the battle because I feel like now it comes much faster for me. I catch myself real fast when it starts happening. Whereas before I might have sat in it longer and then
Mm-hmm.
gone, oh God, I let that go on way too long.
Right.
So,
Isn't that embarrassing sometimes? And then what do you do with
no,
your,
what are you talking
like,
about?
right? No, but sometimes I'm like, now, okay, so I wanted to go back just for a second
Okay.
when you were saying that thing about, so there's this quote. It's like, all human beings have so many thoughts. They say half of which are never true, but doing research and talking to my therapist and everything, it's like 93% of your thoughts don't even come true, right?
Right.
So if I can, when we go in our head, and you were saying we go down scenarios and everything, it's like a freaking waste of time, because
Right.
it doesn't even make sense.
Right.
Like, so if we could try to find something to take our mind off of it, because those of us who have learned to fixate at very young ages and don't know how to get off of the fixation train, that's where you have to course correct. And I call it like thought interruption. No,
Mm-hmm.
we're not doing this today. No, we're trying to change. No. So you really do have to get to have a good relationship with yourself, because you'll be
Yeah.
doing a lot of self-talk.
Yes, absolutely.
But
I talk to myself
we
all day.
me too, but we gaslight ourselves too much. And I think that then that stops us, and we're not as encouraged as we were, because some days are harder than others. They're not all hard, but this thing we do in our head, I cannot tell you how many times people have literally gone, yeah, but what if we lose our house? Yeah, but I won't be able to afford my kids' school. Yeah, but da, 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 and they go down this whole thing. It's like, but aren't you doing more harm than good by thinking that? Because if
Yeah.
energy attracts what we're doing,
Yeah.
you're like giving this mantra to everything you don't want.
That's right. That's right. So in those moments, you would say self-talk your way out of that. I
Mm-hmm.
thing that I thought was really cool that I saw over the holidays. There was something online. I forget who started it. It might have been Deepak Chopra.
Mm-hmm.
The 7 minutes of joy a day project. Did you
Oh,
see
what is
that?
that? No.
Where you're just supposed to schedule in your day 7 minutes. 7 minutes of joy, people. Can you manage 7 minutes of joy in your life every day?
So what does he do?
But it's
Like
a
jump up and down, giggle, laughing
whatever.
yoga,
It's
like,
different for everybody, right? Whatever brings
okay.
you joy, put it in your schedule, 7 minutes a day, and see if that shifts things. So I haven't started it, but I want to start it because I think it's just a great little idea. I mean, I try to
I
practice
think
a lot
it's a
more than seven
great,
minutes of joy a day,
yes.
but for those who
I think
maybe have seasonal affective disorder or depression or whatever, or that sort of thing, and the holidays were tough on people, and scheduling something like that in,
mm-hmm,
and there's all kind of things you can do, subtle
mm-hmm.
change, profound impact, little steps of finding that joy, and it may just be putting on something on TV that makes you happy for a few minutes, if that's
Yeah,
all,
or
if you
dancing
can't get out
around
of
the
bed.
house. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dancing around the
Uh-huh.
house, for me, it's always going to be in nature if I can. Like, get out of the house, get moving.
Ah,
So
yeah.
important. And I don't
But
always get a lot of time to do that these days, but I always feel so much better. Like your endorphins.
totally.
You
So
get
wouldn't it be good to
endorphins when you
start it in
move
the
your body.
morning?
That chemically affects your brain.
Yeah. Would you,
So,
but would you recommend trying it in the morning? Because then your day, you'd want to be
yes,
looking for more joy throughout the day.
I do, except it's really cold right now. So I'm tending not to get up first thing in the morning and do it. I'm tending to wait until it's a little warmer. And then you're right. You can get hung up in all kinds of other things and it's tougher.
Uh-huh.
But
Well,
whatever
and I
works.
totally. And I also, to add to all of that, what I've been implementing is those cold showers. You know, what's that man's name?
Yeah,
Hoff.
no,
I've
I
been doing
can't.
that in this cold. I will tell you though, I've noticed a big difference of
And that
like
you're
this
freezing
morning.
and your leg hairs are growing out?
Yes, but I don't have any leg hair. Sorry, I don't know about you, but I don't have any.
Listen,
But
I'm a natural brunette.
but I was like, why am I zippy this morning? Like, oh my God, it was the cold shower,
Because you were shocked
right?
into life this morning?
Totally. It's amazing. No, but the
Yeah.
cold did
I've
something,
done
but
it.
I will try anything.
Yeah.
Anything if you're going to tell me it's going to make me feel better and it
Yeah.
doesn't cost a gazillion dollars and I don't have to
Right.
join something,
Right.
I'm good with. So
Right.
spiritual things should not cost a lot of money because
Agreed.
it comes from within,
Good Lord, yes. You don't
right?
have to
And
join
so
some ridiculously expensive retreat. You don't have to do any of that
mm-hmm.
stuff.
Well, and so I think that it's like this, and I want people to realize about taking you out of your character and everything. If you plan, let's say, a retreat or something, right? And you're going with the expectation that your life is going to change in 11 days. I hate to tell you, that's a rude awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, you're looking for outside sources
Mm-hmm.
to find your peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, things could help with that. But again, I feel like if you could start visualizing the person you want to become, how you see the self, how you see yourself, how you want the world to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Also, intuitively, I'm getting, what kind of kindness are you putting out in the world? If someone were to explain you to people, who do you think you are and how does it line up
Ooh.
to the way people describe who you are?
That's a good
Right? And do
exercise to
they
do.
match up? Totally,
Like sit
right?
and
I
write it
just
out
thought,
what you think.
well,
That's kind of amazing.
they just told me that
Thank
because
you,
that's
Day.
more right, that's more impactful. And because I may have a perception of myself and it's not true to everyone, right? Because
Of course.
I've had people like make complaints or do things. My nieces and nephews were like, you're so judgy. I'm like, me, I'm the coolest thing ever. And but I didn't see me the way they saw me, and so I took a mental note. I did some, in-depth research inside, and I was like, yeah, okay, I guess I got to work on that, right? It wasn't easy,
Yeah.
and it was hurtful, but it was shocking because I always thought I was the coolest person in the world. And so it even happens to people who, do this. It's more of a lifestyle all the time, but I when they said that, I don't want them to perceive me like that. So I didn't
Right.
change for them, but it hurt me because I was literally thinking something completely different and
Right.
I need it to match.
Right. And the retreat, going back to that for a second, you could get some really great
Um,
points out of that, but you still have to do the work and put those things into practice.
that's what I'm
Right.
saying is
Yeah.
yeah, you,
You're
because
welcome.
in a retreat, it's great. No, I said it's great tools, but
Yeah.
if you're thinking that in 10 days, you're going to completely change 30 years of trauma,
Right.
then it would be all over the news and we'd all be there, right?
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is, because then what will happen is you go, you have all this hope, and then you come back and you still feel like the same person, and then it doesn't last, and then you're like, oh,
Well,
okay,
that's
so
when the
I'm
hard
starting
part
over
starts.
again.
That's when the real work starts, where you've really got to sit in it. When you're around all these other people that are doing it with you, that's amazing energy for sure to be in that and feel
Mm-hmm.
it and get inspired to do something different. But then coming home and sitting by yourself and going, okay, now I got to work on this today. Now I got to implement
Uh,
these things.
well, and
That's
then
where
if you've
shit gets
never
real.
done it, yeah, and
Right.
then if you've never worked on it and you don't know how, you're like, well, I don't know how, and then I'll make an appointment for Monday with someone, and then it's postponed again and
Mm-hmm.
again and again.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying is, like you were saying, write the tools down of how you think people perceive you and how you're actually perceived, and then how would you like people to perceive you, and then also look into who and how you want to feel, who you want to become. Are you sick of feeling anxious, but you're happy about everything else in your life? Well, then your anxieties are coming from something, and maybe they're coming from you making everybody else happy in your life so that you have all the anxiety. So yeah, everything in your life is cohesive because you're making everybody else happy, and you may not see it that way because you're just doing what you've always done.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Performing.
when you stop, people are pissed that you're not the same character showing up,
Right.
right? The servicing, the people pleasing, all of that. And then it's like, well, wait, do I feel guilty because I didn't let them know I was changing? You don't owe anyone any explanation with the shifts you're making. Hopefully, they'll go along for the transitions, and the transitions aren't going to be as sharp. They'll be slow, but turning. And then that's where we realize who our real friends are, where we really want to be
Right.
spending our
That's
time
right.
on. And that's the part I think we all avoid the most
Of course,
because
because
we
we all
know
know, we all kind of have an inkling of how that's going to go
if
down.
we don't call or if we stop,
Right.
most likely those are going to end. And that happened to me a lot this year.
I was just about to say, yeah, that happened a lot last year with the not drinking and seeing who stuck around
Oh,
and
yeah,
who
I meant
still
last
wanted
year.
to hang out
Uh huh.
and who didn't. Because I was shocked at some of the people that I thought were just, thick as thieves, super tight, that I just stopped hearing from.
Well, and you think what do
Wow.
you have in
Okay.
common now?
Isn't
And
that
they
sad?
were, but if you
But
think about
good to realize. Important to know.
good to realize, but you also have to think of it this way. They're not doing it to hurt you, right?
No,
They're maybe doing it because they're embarrassed, maybe that they still want to drink, but they don't want to tempt you. Who
exactly.
knows what they're thinking, right? But it's hurtful.
Well, but sad in the realization that what you had together was drinking. When you
Mm-hmm.
think it's something more, and you're like,
And also
well, maybe
eating.
not.
The same could go for eating with chubby
Eating
buddies,
could be for
right?
anything. I'm just, yeah,
Anything. I'm just saying there are lots of people that you feel comfortable with eating as much as you want and not feeling. I never, when I was growing up, ate around my skinny friends ever. Well, my skinny friends never
really.
really ate, so that was amazing.
Well,
But meaning like, but I didn't eat what I would normally eat at home in front of my family around
huh,
my skinny friends.
really,
Right. And
huh,
so I just think a lot of us will show up in like chameleons, and it's easier sometimes to be who people want us to be than to just be ourselves because it's too much of a hassle.
right, right.
So again, that's
Expectations.
somebody taking you out of your character.
It is allowing
And people
somebody
don't realize that's a
to
subtle
take you.
change, right? And we have to realize we're constantly being taken out of our character. I'm just saying do it when it's a choice and
Well, I
it's
would say we're
for
allowing to be taken out of our character
okay,
because it is in our control, not
for
being
sure.
taken by the other person, just to clarify, right?
For sure. Okay, I get that. But because yes, we all have that, but I'm gonna say in certain situations where people, let's just say hypothetically, in certain situations where I'm forced to yell at you because you never listen and you're so infuriating and you might be breaking something of mine, right? Therefore, you're triggering me. Yes. And I do have a decision now that you say it that way. Okay, fine. But I'm saying people will justify and go, but he was breaking my phone. And then friends over here will be like, oh my God, I would have broke more than his something. I would have kicked his ass. I can't believe that's all you did was yell, blah, blah, blah. And then we hear so much from other people. It's okay to be taken out of your character in certain situations. And you have to say to yourself, is it?
I
What
don't
do I
know. I mean,
want?
that is an excellent point because there are. I mean, think about huge protesters in life. People like Martin Luther King Jr. who always just maintain that. And look at the,
Hmm.
shit that went down. And it's like, wow, what a incredible
That is
human.
grace, and that is
Oof. Like,
a
could I do
very,
that?
yes,
Oh,
absolutely. Absolutely,
woo.
you could with
But I'm saying when you're in
medit.
moments like that, where somebody's coming at you or they're attacking somebody you love, like physically attacking them, or
Well, think
I,
of how much practice
oh,
he unfortunately had.
I
So
know, but
he
I'm
saw it
saying
over and
like,
over, and he probably saw no change when at first maybe they
mm,
responded with, you hit me, I hit you back. You cuss at me, I cuss at you back. And then when he saw probably that there was no change, it was like, well, if I'm protesting for peace and for love and for acceptance, then therefore I have to show it by example,
right,
right? And so this is the most infuriating freaking thing to me. And I will say to my therapist, and I
exactly,
get so pissed off, I go, why do I always have to be the bigger person? Why do I always have to be the one that's doing the freaking right thing? It's
yeah.
not fair. And he said, because not everyone has access to a doctor like you do, and because it's the right thing to do, and you're equipped with more tools than others.
Well, and
And I
because
was
we're
like,
never going to see change if we stay in that energy too, right? I mean, if we are ever going to,
totally.
because what you're doing, what he did rather, was he inspired so many people to
Mm-hmm.
rise up and follow in that same behavior and mentality, right? And that's what we want
Mm-hmm.
in the world. So when you see
Yes.
even the online fighting and the all that, it's like, what? Just let it die out. It doesn't do any good to just go back and fight and fight and fight and fight. And I think we've all realized that
Well,
more and
and I
more
was
over the
thinking of
last
this the other,
six
yeah,
months.
totally. And I was thinking of this the other day. When people online, like the keyboard thugs and like the women, and now a bunch of people online are like outing those people and finding their jobs and showing who they are. I wonder, like, it's so interesting to me. Do you feel good about yourself when you leave things like that online all night? Not you, but
Right.
meaning people who leave that kind of shit. Like, you can't tell me if you go in day after day, is it that misery loves company? Is it that you're so angry at the world? Is it that you're so hurt? Is it that, like, why is it? And really, because if I were to catch you with your friends and probably show you or your friends what you wrote, most likely you'd be embarrassed and you wouldn't go, I wrote that. You wouldn't be proud of it, I would think. One wouldn't be like, yeah, I wrote that comment. And so, because some of the stuff I write is so atrocious that I can't believe one human being would say it to another. Right. So, is that taking someone out of their character when they talk like that? Or is it that people are crying so hard, crying so loud for help or to be seen or whatever for me, I'm trying to wrap my head around that, because I can't, even if I'm allowing you to take me out of my character and you're someone online and I don't know your story, how can I even take any of that personal? You know nothing about me. Right. And so if we allow ourselves to be taken out of our character every time someone said something and we defend ourselves, and we're acting like all of that is true. Do you
Well,
see what I'm
everybody's
saying?
got their own filter of and experiences that they've been through, right? I feel like there's a huge cry for justice right now in the world, and we
Mm-hmm.
all have a platform. So
Oh,
unfortunately, not everybody probably should have that platform because some people
mm-hmm.
misuse and abuse, right? But everybody is entitled to say what they want. But yeah, that's where the practice comes in of like, do I allow that then for me to engage? Because daily I see comments, that I'm like, ooh, and I'm like, ooh, stop. Don't even
Yes.
go
And you
there.
you can't, because
Don't
once you go
perpetuate
there,
that.
there's no coming back, in the sense of like,
No.
then they've agitated you,
Right.
then they've pissed you off, and then you start feeling guilty because you knew better. Then you try to go
Right.
back and maybe delete that, but somebody may have screenshot it, right? And then it's like, oh my God, why did I do? So it's not even fucking worth it,
Oh, I agree. And
because
I've learned the
yeah,
hard way over, past years of what now I just really go, you know what? I just can't engage with this. I can't.
totally. And you know
Because
what
things
I've
seem to
also,
work themselves out anyway. Like it's
they
all
always
no matter
do.
what you say about whatever event in the world is happening. I mean, not that you shouldn't speak
Mm-hmm.
up for justice if you're saying it in the right way. That's not attacking somebody, but if you're just getting in the mud, what's the point? It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't.
It
It's
doesn't
a
make
waste of your
sense
time,
to
girl.
me. Well, and it doesn't make sense to me because I guess I want to say this to everyone, and this is intuitively.
Yes.
Everyone needs to hear this in 2023. Okay. Just hear me out. You are going to get back whatever you give.
Mm-hmm.
And not only are you going to get back whatever you give. So even if you think you make a snarky little comment online, you don't know how somebody else is going to take that. And you don't know what their situation in, right? And what hardships they're under. So you don't know if that person is going, God or universe, give me a sign that I should still be here or I shouldn't give up. And then someone writes some fucked up comment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't know how little or small you're thinking something little or small. So then what's going to happen to you is vibrationally now you have cast that fishing, reel. And now you are going to start bringing in all of that stuff you've been creating by the vibration you're sending out online.
Mm-hmm.
So don't act so surprised when shit's hitting the fan. I don't know what's going on with me. Shit's so fucked up. Da-da-da. Well, check yourself and see where you've been. And are you aligned? And are you aligned with who you want to be? Are you aligned with where you want to go? Are you aligned with everything you've been saying you want to do? And how many years over are you going to stop drinking? You're going to get healthy. You're going to stop this. Have you done it? And
Mm-hmm.
we don't have the time that we used to have. So you need to become who you want to become now. Stop waiting, because the longer you wait, the less the more the excitement dissipates, and the less likely it is you're going to do whatever it is you wanted to do. So stop complaining. And if you don't have money or you don't know how to use online, or start figuring it out. Figure out what you can do instead of what you can't do, because a lot of us will say I don't have resources, and a lot of people, it's so true, you can't study when you're so stressed about money or whatever. But I can promise you this: if you start studying and it's something different than you normally do, and you're trying to learn a new thing or learn how to better your life with the computer and learning social media, vibrationally it's going to shift that you're ready for your world to open up. Right. And so if you allow your world to open up, we're open to creative solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And creative solutions will figure out how something's going to work. Listen, I don't care how it's going to work as long as it's going to work great and it doesn't hurt anyone in the way. Amazing. But so many of us are afraid because that's not how we saw it in our head.
Right.
That's
Right.
not how we saw it unfolding, right? And
Right.
so what I'm saying is be open to creative solutions, get to know who you want to be in your character. And if you can't, there are ways to be angry and frustrated and pissed off and still be in your character. You just have to learn to use your words. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people, let me tell you, when I first started therapy and my spiritual journey and everything, people literally used to go, oh my God, since I've gone to therapy, and they'd hang up on me
Oh.
and they would mimic me
Yeah.
and they would say something because they were just so uncomfortable
Yeah. They don't want
with
to hear it.
my new direction.
Yeah.
Well, then if you're somebody who sways easy, you're going to be like, I don't want to lose my friends. I don't want to lose my family. Oh my God, everything's shifting. It's supposed to.
Right.
Right. But it's
Yes.
supposed to shift, but we're so afraid of rocking the boat that we go, okay, not today. Okay, no, I'll work on it next week. I won't think of it now. You're just putting it off. Do you want to be doing this stuff when you're 80, 90? No, you want to enjoy your life and have healthy relationships. And I would also ask people to start also thinking of how they would like a partner that they're trying to manifest, how they would be in communication and in
Mm-hmm.
their character,
Mm-hmm.
like what
Mm-hmm.
that looks like for them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I think
I'm
we
listening.
forget that as well. Right. Me too. And
Yes.
but I think it's so important because we're all so done talking, like stop talking and start doing. And I literally, it's not that I don't have sympathy, but listen, if me with 33 surgeries and 4 autoimmunes and all of my other ailments can manage to do at least 7 minutes of joy or whatever it is that I manage to do, for me, it's getting ready. Sometimes I just put my makeup on and I will go back to sleep because that is what makes me feel, at least I got up and I greeted the day. And that is something that's very important to me. I wake my dogs up and I go, buddy, we made it another day. Like we get to spend the whole day together again. And I kiss him, I do my makeup, and sometimes I go back to bed or I just relax in bed. But at least I feel like, and that's something I do for myself. Everyone just, that doesn't cost any money. That doesn't take any extra effort. For some people, it might. But do you see how we all have excuses? Well, I don't like putting on my makeup in the morning because I have to do this, or I don't like doing that because then I'm going to go to the gym. Okay, so then tell me what it is you do like to do.
Right.
Stop getting in your own way.
Yes, agreed. And something else I wanted to interject there too, as to don't let anyone take you out of your character. You said something to me, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I think too, when I was starting to do more of this work, and you said, you need to learn how to be the same person in every room you walk into, in every situation you walk into. And I went, whoa, because I had my work friends, I had my party friends, I had, people I meet on the street. And I did look around and I went, ooh, my family. And I thought, oh, I kind of am. I always was so proud of myself for being such a chameleon, because in sales that was such a great thing to do. You can step into any conversation and blend and assimilate and take on. But when it comes down to like doing this kind of work, it's like, oh gosh, I really do need to decide who I am and put the same thing out into the world.
And think how exhausting it is
to remember when we're on this theme, of not letting people take you out of your character. It's like if you walk in thinking, this is, what you were saying, like decide who you are, think about what other people think you are going to be, what you're putting out into the world. It's an interesting place to hold in your mind as you're carrying forward in your day.
And as you're learning, and I will tell you this, which is really powerful, is once you start doing this, you will never turn back. Not only will you never turn back, but it is so less exhausting being a chameleon. And you get to show up of who you are. So is it someone's fault for, let's just say hypothetically, walking away as a drinking buddy when you're not going to be drinking because that was your chameleon side of you?
Exactly.
And so that's that side. So the issue was you, because you were changing yourself for everyone. No one asked you to change for them. And a lot of us, and I'm only using you as an example, but a lot of us do that without realizing it, that we are performing, and some people may be masking, and some people just whatever it may be. And that is so exhausting. When you rid yourself from that, the freedom that you feel is not worth ever going back to the way it used to be.
Well, and the focus finally comes into, what do I want to do? What do I want to do with my life? Rather than, what is this expectation of me here? What do these people want me to do? What do these people want me to do? No, what do I want to do? There is only one Ashley, and if I don't be Ashley, nobody else is going to be Ashley, right? So it's like, it sort of brings that into focus, which I thought was a really cool thing that came of that.
Well, and I think that's
perspective shifted in the things I want to do with my life.
Yeah, and I think that's helpful for people, because what we don't realize is most people never ask us what we want to do. They tell us what we have to do. They tell us what we should do. They tell us how far we should be at a certain age. They tell us all these other freaking things, right? But no one ever says, but what makes you happy? Like, what do you want to do? Because a lot of spouses or parents will go, yeah, go do what you're happy. But then you hear the gaslighting the whole time. I mean, how long are you going to do this before you go get a real job? And how long are you going to, and it's just like, wait, what? I'm so confused right now, right?
You're right. So people that go out into the world and like I'm doing, and I get gaslight a lot because of the, you're just doing all that, because they don't think that I'm doing things in their mind that are productive. It's all about money usually. Well, is that making you money? Is that making you money? I'm like, well, life is not all about making money. Sometimes it's about commitment. Sometimes it's about putting good out into the world. Sometimes it's about something creative you want to build. And I have a lot of different projects going on. I love to create and to build and put things out into the world, and some of them make money, some of them don't. That's okay with me, because it's the process that's so fun, but don't gaslight me. It ain't your life.
Right? And it's the energy too. So like, I may not do productive projects like you do, but I do projects that I constantly want to put love in the world. So
Yes.
I like make the cookies or I do the
Yeah.
stuff, right? So energetically for me, and that's who I've always been since I was a child,
Mm-hmm.
I wake up and literally wonder how I can make people happy. It's
It's
just
very
this thing
sweet.
that I've always done, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very sweet. And I find like I'm going backwards in the sense of I'm getting to my innocence that I never got to have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know who my character is right now because the fact is I never knew who that child was and I didn't get to develop her in a healthy way.
Right.
Now that I'm giving my inner child the childhood she always wanted, I'm kinder to myself. I speak kinder to myself.
Yep.
So
Yep.
until I'm figuring out who this character is, because by the way, your character is always evolving.
Mm-hmm.
And so you may have been one character last year and decided, you know what, I want to make a little shift this year.
Yeah.
Totally entitled. Just be kind to the way you talk to yourself, be kind to the way you talk to others. Think about if you were in a room and you were treating someone, is that the way you would want someone else in a different state? That if your brother or your sisters or whatever, you would want them to treat them. Start thinking like that in those terms of like,
Mm-hmm.
when I do kind things for elder people or young children, I go, listen, I have so many nieces and nephews that I would hope somebody in their neighborhood would be just as kind to them as I am to these children.
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping for that, right? And so I'm trying to put it out there. So there could be many reasons. People just like to feel good. People like to feel like they're contributing something. So there are so many ways to do things. If you don't have money to bake or you don't know how to bake or whatever it is, you could always just go and sit with somebody who's lonely that you know, or ask somebody if they need their weeds pulled, or if you know a neighbor that a spouse died and
I
they're
need my
older.
weeds pulled.
Exactly. There we go. I
Just
must be
kidding.
psychic. Could have said anything, but I said weeds. Ask one
So
of your
funny.
brothers for Christmas.
Oh God.
It's practice, you
That's
know?
funny.
And so I think it's really cool that we're talking about this in the beginning of the year because I think that we all get so caught up in our resolutions and our things. And I just think that what if in 2023 people focused on their character and how and what that looks like for them and how
Totally.
and what they would like to be perceived in the world. And I think that that is like a great doable start, right? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't take any money, it doesn't take any classes. You don't have to commit. You have to commit to your brain.
Exactly. You're committing to you. And I was
Mm-hmm.
just about to say too when we were talking about that, it's like once you learn to pull the focus inward and to focus on yourself and the things that you want to do with your life, the character you want to be, it takes a very strong sense of self to stay in that mode, right? So it is something you have to
Mm-hmm.
continually work on. And what that looks like is being kind to yourself, just like what you said, I mean, positive affirmations, catching yourself in those negative thoughts and stopping
Yes.
them and correcting them and going, nope, 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 shift your thoughts
and
back over
and and
here.
quotes are the best
They
for like
are.
in your head, right? And
Yeah.
so you just repeat quotes in your head that you love and you know. And it's like if you don't get up out of bed this morning to do the things that you were saying you were going to do and they were all on your list, you're just going to have to do them tomorrow. So
Right.
again, ask yourself, are you showing up for yourself,
Right.
and is it working towards the character that you're trying to be,
Right.
you
And we
know?
have
And
daily
so
affirmations and
yes.
inspirations from Coach Dena on our Instagram channel, Facebook channel, YouTube channel, and TikTok, correct?
Yes, and
Yes.
correct.
So you
And
can follow
also,
those and get a little daily inspiration video, like a little 60-second. They're very quick, but they're really great. If you want to follow that every day, you can email us at litnnguest@gmail.com if you want to be a guest, if you want to be a partner, like an
or if
advertising
there's any
partner.
subject anyone
Subject
would like
material
to
if
talk
people are.
about, they can
Absolutely.
put in the comments below and we could cover a subject if
Sorry.
there's something that you've been wanting to communicate and you
Totally.
need some help on or something like that and you want to be anonymous, we're open to that too.
Yes, yes, we'd love to hear from
Yay.
you. So
All
thank
right.
you for today.
So
I'm sorry, did you have any last thoughts or?
no, my only last thought was I just think it's like be very present and aware of your thoughts right? Because that's where it starts. So, like, be very aware of your thoughts because you're going to start cleaning your thoughts before you put them out into the world,
Yes.
right? And so, be very aware of the way you're thinking and just remember it takes time. You're not going to get it. You could be exhausted, but I promise you you're going in the right direction in the sense of if you would like a more consistent, positive, loving, effective, incredible life. It literally it's just like, oh my God, what if da, da, da. Stop. We don't think like that. Everything's fine. Blah, 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 blah. Right? Or you're very kind to yourself. Or why am I thinking like that? Because a lot of us think the way we do just out of habit.
That's
And I
right.
just we're
It
just
is
breaking a
habit.
habit.
That's
Yes.
right.
And that's
That's
it.
right.
So it's really not, we think it's connected to our emotions, but really what's happening is that habit has created anxiety, which now affects your emotions.
And after however many years of having a habit, it is very difficult to break. So it does
Mm-hmm.
just take a lot of consistent work.
Yep. And that's
Right?
it.
Right?
That's
Yay.
totally, yay.
Well, thank you for
Oh,
that. Yes.
you're welcome.
Happy New
Thank
Year.
you. Happy New Year to
Yes.
you.
I'll see you
Looking
next
forward
week.
to doing more. Yes, I will
Yeah.
see you next week.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.